And capitalism, America's economic system, the free market system, is a form of theft, robbing people of what Obama calls their fair share. Now, this idea that America is based on theft is never effectively answered. And in fact, many of its premises seem undeniable. Didn't we in fact take the country from the Indians? Didn't we in fact steal the labor of the blacks? And so on. So in this film, America, I want to take this progressive leftist critique head on. I want it to be articulated by its best spokesman, and then I want to effectively answer and debunk it.
All right, folks, you know the voice and the face, and it's the one and only Dinesh D'Souza, author, filmmaker, and writer and director of 2016 Obama's America, which of course was the second highest grossing political documentary in history. And now he's got one coming out again with the man who helped produce the first one, Gerald Mullen. And of course, this is coming out, I believe, Dinesh, in July, right?
Yeah, it's going to open in June, and by July 4th, it'll be nationwide.
Right. Well, congratulations. I mean, just looking at that trailer, it just makes you want to see more and more and more. First of all, how are you doing? What's the latest in the legal case that you're involved in with the contributions? So
that case is scheduled to go to trial in May, around May 19th or May 20th. I'll be in court, and it's going to take a few days and hopefully be resolved. So that's up and coming. I'm working really hard to complete the America film. We're in the sort of editing stage now, and it's going to be a very unique and powerful film. The philosopher Edmund Burke once said, "To love our country should be lovely." And that's what this film is about. It's about why America is lovely, what's at stake, and what Americans can do to protect and save our country.
Well, let's start with the latter there. What can Americans do to protect and save our country? Because Dinesh, I got to tell you, I could never, in my wildest nightmares, have predicted that 5 years after the election and swearing in of Barack Obama, we would be such a different nation, from the top down, from the inside out, whether it's domestically, foreign policy, you name it. Every aspect of our lives, everything has changed in one way or another, all for the worst, all for the scariest. So what can we do?
Well, I think what we need to realize is that with the Obama team, with the Obama progressives, what we're seeing is not amateurism and ignorance. For example, if you look at the stuff that's been going on in the Ukraine recently, there's a general view that Obama's misinformed. He doesn't understand the importance of foreign policy. We better educate him about geography. Let's remind him that Putin used to be a KGB officer, blah, blah, blah. The thing is, Obama knows all that. It's just that Obama has an ideology. He wants to make America very different than it is. He would like to see the American era, which began in 1945, come to an end. He doesn't want America to be the world's sole superpower. So the first thing I think we need to do is to recognize that what's happening to us is not the unintentional bungling of Jimmy Carter #2. Rather, it is the product of design. It is an intentional, ideological, to use Obama's words, remaking of America. Now, you can't remake America in 2 years or 4 years, maybe not even in 8 years, but you sure can do it in 16 years. And I think that's sort of Obama's long-term plan. He wants to make a baton handoff to a hand-picked successor so that his project can be completed, if not by 2016, then shortly thereafter.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I have often said, just take the economic policies that he's played with here for 5 years. He's not a stupid man. Say whatever you will. And he knows what he's doing. We view his policies as failing. He doesn't view them as failing. He views them as getting to America to the point that he wants to get it to, even though the ride might be bumpy and for now, he sees the end game, whatever his end game is, and we know that he would love to see everybody making the same amount of money, living in the same house, driving the same little crappy car, and that would be fair. And there's a name for that kind of political philosophy. So I don't for a minute buy that he's trying his best to turn this economy around, but he's sticking and doubling down on the same failed policies for 5 years now with no end in sight. That's not, like you said, that's not unintentional. That's not accidental. That's not ignorance. That's purposeful.
Yeah, Jimmy Carter was a bungler. You know, in Iran, Jimmy Carter said, I can't support the Shah of Iran. He's a dictator. I've got to pull the Persian rug out from under him. And, you know, whoops, we got Khomeini. But no one thinks that Carter wanted to get Khomeini. The difference with Obama is that when it comes to foreign policy, he is trying to reduce America's footprint in the world. He's also, he's a redistributionist, not just in America, but on the global scale. So he wants to redistribute money within America, yes, but he also wants to redistribute money away from America to the rest of the world. And America's debt is part of a way to do this, because a lot of our debt now is owed to foreigners. Right. So when we accumulate this staggering debt, we're essentially shoveling dollars away from the United States and toward Kuwaitis and Saudis and Chinese and so on.
All right, well, so with all this being the case, let's work under that assumption. What Americans can do is, besides being aware of this, I mean, it could only happen at the ballot box, right?
Well, yeah, Americans have been sort of, in a way, what happened with Obama, I think, going back to 2008, is that there's a fear that Obama would have been something of a new Jesse Jackson, kind of the angry black guy with all kinds of racial reparations and affirmative action, and Obama wasn't that. So the whole country heaved a huge sigh of relief and said, all right, this is wonderful. We're getting an African-American president who's not going to be, if you will, a partisan for black causes. He's going to be, he'll be the president for the whole country. What they didn't realize is that Obama has an even more radical agenda. Now, it's not a race-based agenda, but it is an agenda of global redistribution. And Obama's been able to get away with it with almost no media scrutiny. I mean, this guy has had almost a 6-year honeymoon now. And I think a lot of journalists, in effect, stopped. I mean, the Times stopped being a real newspaper and has become a propaganda wing of the Obama White House. So we're in a very, I think, dangerous and unprecedented moment in our history in which the normal checks and balances, the institutions that are actually entrusted with looking out for the American people, are not doing it.
Right. And just finally, and I know the case is coming up, but do you feel that...
what's happening here, Steve,
yeah, go ahead. I was going to say, I'm sorry, I was going to say, do you feel that you are a victim of that abuse with regard to your case?
Well, I was actually about to go in a little different direction. I was about to say that it's really important for us who are trying to get a message out to find new channels to do that and to reach people, if you will, through, but also beyond the conservative fold. One of the wonderful things about 2016 was to be able to stand in the theater and see lots of ordinary guys who would never be in Barnes & Noble to buy one of my books, or would never come to a Republican event per se, nevertheless coming to a movie, bringing their family, and being very powerfully moved by it. So that's really why I've shifted my career, moved away a little bit, if you will, from just a writer and scholar, and made this movie called America. So AmericaTheMovie.com is where you can watch our trailer, and we're excited to be offering it for the 4th of July this year.
Okay, I was going to ask about that. That's great to know. And say hello to Gerald. He's a great man, and we look forward to talking to you again, surely before the trial, but certainly good luck with that if we don't, and hope for the best, sir.
I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Dinesh. Dinesh D'Souza, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Yeah, obviously, with the trial pending, you're not going to say anything inflammatory or even weigh in too much about it. But check out the movie, simply called America, on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax Television.